Hello, everyone, and welcome to the greatest podcast you never heard of. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Zodiac podcast, the podcast that has no real agenda and no real script, as far as you know. This is the podcast that has coined the term, it's WrestleMania, it's the road to WrestleMania, and it's full of potholes. But luckily, this past week on Raw, we got a bunch of matches that we can look forward to.
Well, I'm not caught up, so I'll deal with that later.
Yeah, fair enough. But by the time this drops, hopefully you will be caught up. But we will be continuing our classic pay-per-view review. This particular episode, we'll be talking about WCW. As you can tell by the hat I'm wearing, I did say that I would wear the hat, adjacent to the promotion. And this week we're doing WCW Wrestling Spring Stampede 1994. But before we go into that, with me as always, the psycho nerd, the repeat movie viewer. He has many hats, but he doesn't wear them. I don't know what that's all about.
We are not a hat person over here. No.
But again, like I said, we'll be talking about Spring Stampede 1994, which again was under the WCW World Championship Wrestling banner. Original date of airing was April 17th, 1994, from the Rosemont Horizon in Rosemont, Illinois, which is just outside of Chicago. And by the way, it's outside, not too far from O'Hare Airport. For those that live in the Chicago area, you know what I'm talking about. Attendance was 12,200 people with a buy rate of 115,000, which is pretty high for the time. It's not a WrestleMania number.
No.
And the tagline was locked horns, bullish tempers, let the stampede begin. Yeah.
This was the inaugural Spring Stampede as well, because they talked about it on commentary. So it's like, all right, it's nice to know that this is where it got its start.
Not only that, we wouldn't get another Spring Stampede until 1997. So I guess this was such a great show that they had to wait 3 years to do another one.
Yeah, but by the time they did it in 1997, Macho Man DDP rivalry was well in full swing.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
But because I know you watched more WCW than I did back in the day, I'm going to give the Psycho the lead on this particular episode. Before we jump into what we saw on the pay-per-view, we very briefly want to talk about the two matches that were not even televised, because they were so awesome that they were not even televised.
The pay-per-view just could not contain the matches.
No, it couldn't contain the hell that is. Danny Bonaducci versus Christopher Knight. For those that do not know, Danny Bonaducci was in a show called The Partridge Family. Christopher Knight was the middle child in the Brady Bunch, the middle boy child. Yeah. Bonaducci, I kind of see that happening because he's a redhead and he's feisty. And redheads tend to be that way.
I've heard he's a dick in real life.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too. And he had a reality show back in the day that I used to watch. He used to be a DJ in LA for a while. And then, of course, we had Pat Tanaka and Hayato defeating the Sullivans, Kevin and Dave, in a tag match. And we didn't see it, so we're just going to talk about it very briefly.
No.
I'm going to pass, even though it's not football season, I'm passing the ball to the Psycho. Take it from here with the first match.
All right, so we've got Diamond Dallas Page before he became the Diamond DDP. Dallas Page we knew at the DDP that we got during the Monday Night War era.
Yeah.
Definitely looks very different. Coming out with his real life wife, Kimberly.
Known as Diamond Doll.
Diamond Doll at the time, absolutely. It was him versus Johnny B. Bad, who a lot of people in UF days from the 96 on would remember him as Mark Merrow.
The man that Sable cheated on Brock Lesnar with. Or the other way around. She cheated on him with Brock Lesnar.
Screw that. They weren't a couple anymore. She dumped him like a bad habit, and he deserved it.
Damn.
He was such a cock. I mean, this is not a bad starting match. It was like a 6-minute match, very short and sweet, very quick to the point. You got a lot of back and forth going on between the two guys. Nobody really gains the advantage for too long throughout the match. Nice combination of mat-style wrestling with some power moves for both guys. Johnny B. Bad, ends up winning with a sunset flip off the top rope. Nice. You don't see that too often. You don't see it too often at all.
No, you don't. I mean, it was like a just under 6-minute match. For what it was okay. I mean, it's average. It's average. It's not great.
I've seen better opening matches for a pay-per-view. Usually, back during the WCW days, a lot of times they would do like a Lucha Libre beginning, which I think is a great way to get the blood pumping for the crowd, get them really into it, as well, all that high-flying action and whatnot. But this one gets the job done subtly.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, take it for what it is.
Yeah.
But of course, so we get multiple throughout the show. We get multiple interviews with Jesse Ventura, who apparently is part of WCW during this point in time. But yeah, he's more famous now for complaining about cage matches. But
Yeah. Yeah, he was asked not to come back after that, by the way.
I will imagine. I will imagine. The next match coming up, we got a title match. We got Flying Brian. You might know him more as Brian Pillman. May he rest in peace, Mr. Brian. Taken way too young, in my opinion. Versus Mr. Lord, Steven Regal, one of my favorite figures in wrestling throughout the last 30 plus years, for the World Television title. This is actually the first of 4 reigns for Mr. Regal with the World TV title. He won it on September 1993, and held it until May 2nd of 1994. Throughout the 4 times he held the title, he held it a combined period of time of 557 days. So
Damn.
not too shabby for him.
No, it's just shy of 2 years. It's not bad.
Yeah, just about. So it's nice to know there was a time when he was a champion. He really didn't get that kind of respect in WWF, whatever. So that kind of sucks. But anyway, the way the World Television title matches work is that they have a 15-minute time limit. If you run through the 15 minutes, the match is over, it's a draw. And that's exactly what we get here. But you know what? The match wasn't too bad. I mean, Brian, he starts the match like really fast and furious. He went right after Regal with some hard hits, trying to take advantage of it right off the bat. He actually takes advantage for about 3 minutes or so. But then Regal, he kind of gains control for a while. Again, we got 2 different styles going on here. Regal, more of a match specialist, and Brian, more of a brawler style going on here. So it's fun for what it is. But Brian, he gets a lot of quick hits on Regal, relying a lot on Regal's relying more on submission holds. He does a lot of that during this match, like a lot. He keeps Brian grounded quite a bit. And as I recall, I want to say they were on the outside of the ring when the time expired, but don't quote me on that because it's been a few weeks since I saw the show.
They were outside and Pullman threw him back in the ring and went for the cover, but it was already at that point. It was too late.
Oh, that's right. He was trying to get the quick win, but it was too. Yeah, okay. That's about right.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was okay. This I wouldn't call this a stupendous match, but again, it was okay. You know, it was all right for what it was. And for me, it's just awesome to be able to see these 2 particular guys that I have a lot of respect for wrestling it out together in a half decent match. So that's really where the fun was for me here.
And we cannot mention Lord Steven Regal without mentioning a long time ago in an American Bank Center far away here in Corpus Christi, Texas. We were helping set up a lot of shit. The Titantron, the ring, we were setting up equipment. We were actually let go early because they had too many people. We just finished lunch. We were rolling out the door. And who do we see on the back loading area but Steven Regal? And this dipshit over here goes, "Oh, what did you say, Ashley?" Now that I think about it.
We walked out. He was there. He nodded at us. He acknowledged that we were looking at him. You know, that was it. He was smoking a cigarette or he was on his phone, whatever he was doing at the time. He was just kind of chilling. We walked down the steps and I said, I should have said something. I should have said, I wanted to compliment him on a match that I saw in WCW around the time that I became a fan of WCW's 96, 97. It was him versus the Ultimo Dragon. It happened on Monday Night Raw. It was one of my favorite matches of that early stint of me being a hardcore week-to-week wrestling fan. And I wanted to tell him how much I loved that match. And it was one of the matches that made me really fall in love with that catch-as-catch-can style of wrestling.
Yeah.
And I dropped the fucking ball. I didn't have the... Because you know what? They fucked me up. They told us not to bother the talent.
They did.
When they told us, "Oh, you can go into the back area. There's a lot of food back there. Just don't bother the talent." So we kind of kept to ourselves, even though there was a lot of people I wanted to talk to. And it's like, well, we were leaving the building. I mean, I don't think there was any harm in it. So they kind of poisoned my mind. I should have just said something. And it's one of those things.
You said something about the brass knucks to him or something. I could have sworn you said something.
If I did, I sure as hell don't remember, but that would have been another thing to compliment him on. He used to love the power of the punch.
I do remember we were walking somewhere and AJ Lee was trying to get my attention and I was walking away and she's like, "You, the tall guy." And I turn around, I'm like, "Me?" And she's like, "Oh, I thought you were somebody else." I'm like, "Okay, can I be that guy?"
I know. Can I please?
This was GM AJ Lee, by the way. This was before the crazy, or this is probably after. And then I think her and Punk weren't even dating at the time. I think she was still hanging with Daniel Bryan at the time.
I can't remember.
No, that was Ziggler. She was with Ziggler. That's when the crazy chick came out, right around that time frame.
I always liked the crazy AJ. Thought she was fun.
I think we're starting to see that come out after the promo her and Becky had a week ago.
Which I can't wait to see for the record. But going back to the show, next up, we've got a Chicago street fight. Always fun to have a hardcore match. We got the Nasty Boys, old school WWF versus Cactus Jack and Max Payne. If you're doing a hardcore match and you have Cactus Jack, you know you're in for some shit.
Oh, yeah.
Bottom line. And this match didn't last long at all. It was a 9-minute match. Action and carnage. Starts off right off the bat, and then at one point they get separated. And it takes them a while before they finally do the freaking split screen so we can see the action going on both fronts. Which it's like, come on, guys, get on the ball here. Come on, dropping the ball. This was not a bad hardcore match for what it was. The ending was pretty crazy. I think I remember you saying it looked like Cactus Jack, he got thrown off the ramp and fell on the concrete, and they ended the match soon after. Makes me wonder if that was intentional or not, because the fact that they ended it, the fact that they ended it right away makes me wonder, was that intentional or not? Because, Mick Foley has made a goddamn career out of falling on the concrete.
And this is before the Hell in a Cell with the Taker. This is like 3 years away from that. So, yeah, it's...
Yeah, 4 years away from that. Almost to the day, as a matter of fact, because that happened in June of 98 at the King of the Ring.
It looked brutal the way he hit. I'm like, dude, I hope he's okay. We know he is, but even when you're watching live, you're like, he hit that concrete hard.
Yeah, it was ugly. But, I mean, we get a lot of different things going on in this match. But also, not only getting thrown off the ramp, but he also got a shovel to the head. So that might have also contributed to it. But you know what? I can't complain about this match. We got a lot of what we expect from a hardcore style match. You got chairs, you had pool cues, you had tables, and of course I mentioned the shovels. So short, sweet, carnage. Gotta love it. Not too bad.
You had a shovel, but nobody got buried.
No, they saved that for the Buried Alive match over in WWF.
You're a spade. I always call them that.
Which is funny. I think Undertaker lost every single Buried Alive match he was ever in, to my recollection. It was just like, that's like you losing casket match, which he did lose plenty of those too.
Oh, he did. Yeah.
It's like, that's your match, dude. That's pretty bad. But oh well. And next up was a match that I know others praised the hell out of, and I don't know. I had a problem with this match. That was Muda, Great Muda, whatever you want to call him, versus Stunning Steve Austin. Back when he still had the blonde locks.
With Colonel Robert Parker as his manager.
I remember that guy. I do remember him. I think he managed Harlem Heat later on down the road around the Monday Night War area. This was for the U.S. title. Stunning Steve Austin being the champion. This one goes on for about 17 minutes. Not a bad match. Not a bad. It wasn't bad. It was a lot of mat wrestling going on, but it felt like a lot of random holds going on throughout the match, mostly from Muda. I felt like he was definitely specializing with all the mat wrestling in this match. And I'll be honest, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because my love for wrestling has greatly diminished over the past several months, mostly due to WWE and TKO and all their stupid politics that are going on. I had a lot of trouble not only getting into some of the matches, but this one, I don't know. For some reason, I couldn't get into it as much, although I recognized that it was a good mat match. You know what I mean? Mat specialist type match. But
the part that pissed me off, though, was that it ended in the DQ when Steve Austin kind of threw Muda over the top rope. And I'm like, I remember that being a rule back in that was a WWF rule too, that if you went over the top rope, they changed that once they made the Rumble. They kind of changed that, but back then it was considered taboo and it was dangerous, and now it happens all the fucking time. So
yeah, that is such an old school rule. Like I'm talking really old school. That's why when it happened, I was like, what the fuck? What really? We have all these other matches with people going over the top rope, and this is the one time. What the hell? They never give us any context on that either as to why this is the one golden match that had to end that way.
Well, it's funny too, because I think later on in the show, somebody else goes over the top rope and they never call DQ. And I'm like,
no, they don't.
And we've talked about this in other WCW shows, is that the refs they're so inconsistent in the rules that it's like, the fuck are y'all doing? Are you letting them play? Okay, cool, but you need to be consistent, you know?
Well, considering the other time I think was also a title match. And it's like, where's the consistency going on here? You're not doing that. Yeah, so
agreed.
Whatever, guys. I'm in the dark. I don't know. But I mean, not a bad match for what it was, but that ending really just left a sour taste in my mouth, honestly.
Yeah.
We move on to another title match. We got Rick Rude, which I'll tell you what, I never knew that he actually held the WCW title or any title in WCW. I never paid attention to his career. Sting, on the other hand, is a multiple former champion in that company. He's the golden boy, the franchise, if you will, of WCW. Always loved Sting. Always loved him. Kudos to him for finally retiring. You know what? For a title match, only 13 minutes. Very surprising. But there is a little bit of backstory with the title because it's known as the International World Title, which I was confused. I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? We got two separate titles.
It's the big gold is what it is.
Yeah. So apparently, after that particular title, the International World Title was created after WCW seceded from the NWA, and I forget the exact time frame that happened. And they, in order to maintain control of the big gold belt, is why this one was actually created. It was considered kind of like a secondary world title to the primary, so it's still basically like the Intercontinental Championship, in my opinion, or U.S. title, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So, but the title was actually unified with the WCW World Heavyweight Championship just a couple of months later on June 19th.
But they kept the big gold design. And that became the title. It always bothers me in the history with the NWA to WCW and then to WWF to WWE is that the big gold is the redheaded stepchild. It's always just
why?
Yeah, I don't get it.
It's a nice looking title.
I mean, in WWE, I get it. You don't want a WCW product to be the big title. I get that. I understand that. I'm okay with that. I can let that be. But even when it was unified, when the big gold was unified twice, it was unified when Jericho won it. And then it was unified again when I think it was Randy Orton that won. No, fuck, who was it? Or was it Cena?
If it happens after, I'm very mixed when it comes to anything that happens after the Ruthless Aggression era.
It was either Cena or Orton that won both of them, and they were going to unify them together. It was a ladder match, if I remember. You know what? I think it was Cena.
That does sound familiar.
And they still fucking sell it on the shop, though. They still sell that big gold.
Because you can still make money off it. You can't take it off the market if you're still making money off it.
Yeah.
We're all about money around here.
I mean, I get that, but shit,
yeah, but let's draw a line somewhere.
There's a lot of history in that belt. You shouldn't just fucking toss it aside.
I agree.
Or whatever.
We have some pre-match interference going on here with, who was it? It was Vader. And who was the other guy? It was
I can never do
Harley.
that.
I think it was Harley Race or some shit. I forget who it was.
I think it was Harley Race.
Yeah, they come out here and talking crap about how they want whoever wins this match, they want them next or whatever the hell. They interfere. They get knocked out for their trouble. Sting takes control of this match immediately, and he holds it for a pretty good while, if memory serves correctly. He does a good job of occasionally exciting the crowd, as Sting does. Woo! Love that shit. Before he became the Crow Sting.
Yeah.
After about 5 minutes or so, Rude actually does get control by dropping Sting groin first onto the top rope. Always a classic, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
That's the ever effective equalizer, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a lot of submission holds. You got hard hits going on. Classic. Rude struts as only he can do. And I love how in the beginning of the match, he's still doing the whole, I need you all to be quiet while you, what is it?
Sweat hogs.
Sweat hogs.
Can see what a real man looks like. And he never gets the finish because Sting attacks him almost immediately. And he still has his robe on when he gets attacked. So.
I love how he never lost that. I always thought he was a character back in the old days. He was one of those big names that I always remember.
The precursor to Val Venus, because Val Venus had a very similar gimmick.
Very, very true. Very true. Let's see. We at one point, Rude actually makes a huge mistake and actually lets Sting out of the sleeper hold. That ends up coming back to haunt him badly. Sting actually gets control. We get a ref bump. Big fucking surprise during a title match.
Outcome Harley. Oh my God.
I know, right? Out come Harley Race and Vader to interfere. Doesn't quite work out the way they want to. And I forget who it was. Was it Vader or Harley Race that inadvertently hit Rick Rude in the back with the steel chair? I forgot which one did it.
I think it was Harley Race, actually.
I want to say it was Race. Yeah, that's what I remember. And that's all it took. Sting gets the win. 1, 2, 3. He is the new international world champion. So, woo! So, you know what? This was actually one of the better matches on the card. I dare say probably the best match on the card, possibly. A lot of fun. I mean, Sting was the only thing that ever made me want to watch WCW back when I was back in the early 90s and whatnot. Caught him on TV one time. I really dug his personality. I liked his gimmick, his look. Reminded me of the Ultimate Warrior, which is ironic that I found out later that he used to tag team with the Ultimate Warrior
They were
before
buddies.
he went. Yeah, they were buddies before he went to WWF as the Dingo Warrior before it was changed to the Ultimate Warrior.
See, that's a mispronunciation. It was actually the Dingleberry Warrior.
I saw
I'm sorry.
a video.
Any man who runs to the ring and he's gassed for his match, I'm like, dude, hit the cardio. Seriously, bro. I know I shouldn't be talking, but fuck.
No, but I mean, that's exactly correct. He always ran to the ring, which was energetic as hell. It was one of the greatest. You think of classic openings from way back in the day, the early WrestleMania days. You think of the Ultimate Warrior. It's a great song. It's a great entrance. But then his matches just kind of went.
He'd run out to the ring, he'd grab the fucking ropes, and then that was it.
And then he spends the whole match.
He wasn't pumping up. He was legit fucking tired. He needed oxygen.
He was. He really was. And even Jim Ross one time on a interview for his original DVD that came out, The Self-Destruction of the Ultimate Warrior, talked about he brought a lot of sizzle prior to the bell. And I hate to say it, but he's not wrong.
No, he's not.
But can you say that he was still a memorable character? Fuck yeah, he was. His interviews alone were worth watching. But anyway, we're getting off on a way big tangent here.
Filled with jet fuel. Oh my! I'm not sure which is better, that one or the Macho Man. Ooh, cup of coffee in the morning. Yeah, I'm not sure which one is better at that point because they're both fucking crazy.
I remember an interview with Chris Jericho when he talked about one of Ultimate Warrior's interviews. I forget which one, and he talks about the ending like, it's like, well, I don't really understand what he said, but it sounded cool, so yeah! Yeah, very much. Okay, so we get another, I guess you call it a hardcore style match. They called it the bunkhouse match, which I think this is what the Spring Stampede thing was supposed to be all about. This scenario, I guess, taking someone out to the woodshed kind of thing or something.
Well, no, a bunkhouse is where the ranch hands live on the ranch.
Okay, I missed that. Okay. Oops. All right, well, you got Dustin Rhodes, who later on would become Goldust in WWF, versus Bunkhouse Buck, I think his name was. And I'm like, okay, I never heard of this guy. I don't recognize him.
I wonder why he won the match.
I guess so.
He named the match.
You know what? This was another nice hardcore match, and it got, as I recall, it got bloody as it went on.
Big time.
Like very bloody. I think didn't they both start bleeding at some point?
But with Dustin, you could tell quicker because he has the blonde hair.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like, whenever Ric Flair would get busted open, half his hair would turn red.
No shit. WrestleMania 18, if you've never seen it, go check it out. His match with Taker. Yeah, he gets pretty bloody, as I recall. But yeah, this is a very hard-hitting bloodbath in the most general sense. You got a lot of back and forth going on, lots of weapons being used, including a leather belt. Oh my God, those hits with the leather belt. I'm sure that brings some PTSD for you.
We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that? We're not going to talk about that?
That's classified. Yeah, we don't.
Was it 2 feet or 3 feet in the air?
At least 4. At least 4.
We won't give any context on that. We won't get into that. But yeah, some ugly belt shots, and even Dustin's boot comes into play at some point, if memory serves correctly.
Yeah,
but at the end of the day, it was a rolled up tape that ended the match. And I was like, really? Yeah. Out of all the weapons in the world, you had that rolled up tape bullshit. That's one weapon I never cared for. I never got that one.
No.
Really? Tape? Like, if you're going to use something wrapped around your hand, just use brass knucks. It makes more sense.
Or a chain.
Like in 3 O'Clock High, like, bam, right in the face. Like, oof. Yeah, that shit's got to hurt.
Yeah.
And that's why they have the little section in between your fingers and the brass so you don't hurt your fingers when you punch somebody with it.
Yep.
Anyway, after this, we have 2 more matches that I can remember. You've got the Boss versus Vader in a grudge match. And the Boss, of course, being the Boss Man. He used to be in WWF way back when. You know what? It's the same exact fucking gimmick. I'm surprised they didn't get sued.
Well, no.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, the uniform can be different, can be identical, just the name can't be, especially if WWF owned the rights to the name, which I'm pretty sure they did. But he just changed the color of the uniform, and there's nothing they can do about that.
No, that's really all they did. He was the same exact gimmick, same look, using the nightstick. He was always real big. He was always real good about twirling that thing too. But from what I understand, he was a real correctional officer at some point.
Yes, he was. Yes.
So that makes sense that he knew how to twirl that damn thing. Not a very long match at all. It was like 9 minutes. Honestly, it was a nice display of dominance by the boss early on. He really took control of the match. It was pretty ugly throughout. He actually body slammed Vader. I was really impressed by that.
Yeah.
Like, for all the times you talk about Hogan slamming Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3, he did it before WrestleMania 3, but we won't talk about that. It's like, oh my God, it's so impressive. He did it before. Shut up. We don't talk about it. Shut up.
If we didn't see it on film, it never happened.
Pretty much.
Which is funny you mentioned that match because that's the immortal moment going into the Hall of Fame this year is the Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3. That's the immortal moment going into the
when
Hall of
did
Fame.
when did they start doing the immortal moments? I feel like I've heard of this, but I forgot about it.
WrestleMania 13, Stone Cold and Bret Hart. So they're doing immortal moments now.
Shit. Okay. I forgot all about that. So, okay. Well, I mean, if you're going to pick a WrestleMania 3 moment, I would have gone with Steamboat and Savage. But that's
I would. But then again, like I said, that
moment.
That moment. It's called immortal moment, not immortal match.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
So
that's fine. That works.
Although I'm still pissed off that Jim Johnstone can't get in the Hall of Fame. We got Dennis fucking Rodman going in the Hall of Fame.
We talked all about that. I had some kind words to say about that. Feel free to check that out on that episode we did, a week or two ago?
Yeah, at least a week or two ago. Yeah.
Yeah. But so at some point during the match, the boss actually takes a nasty fall. He was knocked over the top rope, but it looked like he didn't execute it the proper way. It looked like he almost had a bad landing afterwards. Thankfully, he didn't get hurt, but it just looked bad. And that was the biggest problem with this match. There was a lot of times, what's the phrase I'm looking for here? A lot of like botches.
Botches, yeah.
Yeah, there were so many botches throughout the match. There's even one point where Vader, I think, fell off the top rope in a very ugly way as well. I mean, this was a clunky match.
Yeah.
Not much finesse going on. I mean, I get it. It's two big guys, but you can have two big guys and still be a working, fun match. And we don't get that here.
See, that's where you're wrong. It's not two big guys. It's two meaty men. Oh, yeah.
Well, you took that to a whole different level, but you know what? That's perfectly fine.
You can blame Scuba for that one.
Oh, okay. So you're influenced by Scuba. Okay, so I'll blame him for it later.
The thing about this match was at the very end when he's being interviewed, I guess the GM or whoever of WCW stripped the boss man of his name and his nightstick. Like, who the fuck does that? Seriously.
That's never happened before that I can remember, but I'm sure
I can't remember anybody being stripped of their name.
No.
Must have their weapon of choice.
That too, yeah. So there had to have been some kind of like behind the scenes reasoning for that.
Yeah.
Makes me wonder if maybe something went on with WWF or they're
that would make sense.
You got to kill it.
A cease and desist type of thing.
Yeah, because I don't know how long he was at Ray Traylor is his real name. I don't know how long he was in that company as that persona before they stripped him. I have no clue. I might look that one up later on just to know. But suffice it to say, Vader wins with like a very clunky looking moonsault. Probably the worst match on the card, in my opinion.
Yeah, more likely.
Mostly because of the botches. But then you've got the main event. The main event of the night, you've got Ric Flair versus Ricky Steamboat. Wow. This was a good match. I will say this, though. This match was about a 40-minute match, roughly.
32.
Yeah, well, roughly. So
it was long. It was long is what you're saying.
It was longer than it probably should have been, only because the first 15 minutes or so was very slow. And I get it. That's what makes a good catch-as-catch-can style match. You've got a lot of groundwork, a lot of submission holds, a lot of takedowns or headlocks, shit like that. You're slowing down the pace. You're trying to wear your opponent down. I get that, but it goes on for the better part of damn near 20 fucking minutes before it really starts to pick up.
Yeah.
And I was getting exhausted before the match really picked up. But I'll tell you what, when it picked up, it picked up.
Fuck yeah, it did.
It fucking picked up. It got really good there towards the end, and Ric Flair won.
Well, to be fair, though, and they had said, a year or it was either a year or 2 years, I forget how long ago it was, that Ricky Steamboat beat Ric Flair with the same move that he put Ric Flair in on this one. Mm. But the difference being is that Ric Flair's shoulder wasn't down. Ricky Steamboat's were. So technically Ric Flair got the pin.
It's a technicality, and I remember thinking, "Oh my god, he won! I didn't know he won! Oh my god!" And then that happened. I was like, "Nice way to harsh my buzz, guys. Nice job. You suck."
I can just hear it now. Oh my God, Steamboat. Wait, no, Ric Flair won? Oops. But it's funny because I had to go back and watch that part again because I'm like, was this show? Sometimes people get pins and they're not, like when Ronda Rousey got pinned again with Becky and Charlotte at WrestleMania when they were the main event. Ronda's shoulders were not in the mat. The left shoulder was off the mat, if I remember correctly.
I think
and Ronda
you're right
about it. So I was like, maybe they fucked up. And that was just the way it was supposed to end. And if you look straight up, Ric Flair has one shoulder like kind of up, like up enough where it's not, but Steamboat are just flat on the deck. So I'm like, okay, they got it right. Okay, cool.
See, because I thought originally before they displayed that, before they talked about that, I thought that it was like a double pin situation. I thought maybe both their shoulders were down, which it's like, okay, you know what? Sucks, but I get that because that's just the way it has to be done.
And it's a draw at that point.
Exactly. But that wasn't the case. But you know what? Still a good match for what it was. I just think that this is like probably the second greatest match of the night. The other one I talked about before between Vader and Rude, that was my favorite match of the night. This is definitely number 2.
Vader, you mean Sting and Rude?
Sting and Rude, that's what I meant.
Vader interfered.
He kept interfering. That's why I kept thinking that.
Yeah.
But, oh well.
But with that being the main event, and again, Ric Flair was early champion, so he retains it. And I always felt that, like Macho Man in WWF, Ricky Steamboat in the NWA and in WCW just never got the push he deserved. He was always mid-card, never, and he's such a great talent. And, if you've never seen WrestleMania 3 Intercontinental Championship between Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Macho Man Randy Savage, it is the pedestal on what matches should be. It is such a great match.
It is the epitome of what you call a showstopper, scene stealer type of match at any given WrestleMania after that, because anytime you have a great match like that, that's like a non-title match half the time, they'll always say, that is the Ricky Steamboat Macho Man match of the night. And that still goes on to this day.
Yeah, and it's been 40 years, and it's still done today. And it still holds up as a great match.
Yes, it does.
It's one honestly, of the best matches. That should have been the main event. I'm sorry. Andre versus Hulk. Yeah, okay, fine. It's because Hulk Hogan
politics, sir. It's all about
politics. I don't even want to get involved in that right now. So.
Yeah, that's a whole different discussion. We all know what he was like. We all know what he did. We all know. Yeah, we all know how he was back in those days. He wouldn't let anybody over him half the time. This is why he was practically the in the almost every main event for 9 WrestleManias in a fucking row. Even though part 9 is a technicality, it was an impromptu, but still, the spotlight always had to be on him. And looking back on it, it pisses me off to no end.
Oh yeah, big time.
So
with that being the final match, what letter grade would you give this particular show?
See, I had to think long and hard on this one. I don't think this was a bad show. There's only like 1 or 2 matches that I really feel like kind of bring it down. Otherwise, there are some good matches. There's some decent matches. I would probably give it a B-. There's plenty of room for improvement. A couple matches could have been a little bit better, a little bit more fun to kind of bring it up to at least an A. But otherwise, it's a fairly solid show with just a couple of blemishes around the corners. That's what I have to say about it. I would definitely watch it again somewhere down the road, hopefully where I have much better attention skills as it pertains to wrestling. Because I tell you what, like I said, WWE is doing a real good job of making me just not give a shit lately.
Yeah,
and I hate that. I hate that. I used to be hard freaking core wrestling fan back in the day. Now I'm just kind of like a subtle fan.
Yeah,
it sucks.
Well. You give it a B-.
B-, yeah.
Okay. Well,
Jane, you ignorant slut.
Counterpoint. This show was not as great as it should have been. On paper, it should have been fucking great. There's a lot of Hall of Famers in this particular show. You've got DDP. I think Regal's in the Hall of Fame. Brian Pillman, if he's not, he should be. Of course, you got Cactus Jack as Mick Foley. Stone Cold. I think Muda just recently got in. Sting and Rick Rude are in there. Vader, I believe. Bossman, I think, went in after he passed. And, of course, Flair and Steamboat. There is a shitload of Hall of Famers in this show. Yep. But yet, to me, it was below average. And again, this is in a time when wrestling wasn't what it would become in like 2-3 years when, Bash at the Beach, the NWO, and then the Attitude Era and everything else. This is the calm before the storm.
Yeah, it's a quiet time for WCW,
So,
no doubt.
But here's the thing, and I talked about this on the Wrestling Rewind that I did a while back, is that back in the day, the wrestling was okay, but the stories were incredibly good. Now we're getting the inverse. We're getting great wrestling and shitty stories. And I'm like, find the middle, guys. Seriously, find the middle. You can
It
have
is
both.
doable. It is
It's very
possible.
doable.
It is.
Which is why I give this show a C-. It is, I almost gave it a D, but I'm like, I don't want to be a dick. So I gave it a C. There were some good matches on here, but there was a couple matches I'm like, you didn't need to have that match on this card. That bunkhouse match didn't need to be there. I'm sorry. That's just a waste of time.
It didn't need to. If you want to talk about matches that didn't need to be on the card, I say the Vader match was part of that group too, mostly because of the botch fest going on.
Yeah.
Oh, and to answer your question, no, Regal is not in the Hall of Fame.
He's not. Damn, he should
not
be in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, he fucking should. He should definitely be in the Hall of Fame.
I will say this. I recently had to watch WrestleMania 1 for the Wrestling Rewind because it being WrestleMania season. I would rather sit through WCW Spring Stampede again than WrestleMania 1. WrestleMania 1 was fucking boring. But at the time, it was a huge thing.
You got to take that into account.
WWF was the first company to do a big show. WCW a year or two later answered back with Starrcade, which became one of their biggest pay-per-views as well. But again, with all the talent they had on that roster, it should have been a better show. It should have been crazy good. I think if you take away one or two of those matches, the grade might go up. At least for me anyway, it might go up.
Well, that's fair.
That will conclude this particular review of WCW Spring Stampede 1994. Next month, which will probably be this month, we'll probably do it the week before WrestleMania because we missed a day in March. But that's fine. That's on us. That's on me. Whatever. We're gonna go back to 1998 to WWF and for WrestleMania 14.
My first ever WrestleMania that I ever got to see.
Is that the one with Mike Tyson? Was that the year after?
Yeah.
Okay, Mike Tyson. Okay.
Yep, that's when that's me almost a year into my being a fan of WWF, mostly thanks to this fucking guy. All because he made me change the channel, and that's when I became.
I'm on this side actually. But yeah, next month we'll be doing WrestleMania 14. So with that
looking forward to it.
Yeah, for that being said, Psycho, promote your shit.
Okay, well, you can find my podcast on YouTube currently. That will change in the future, and I'll keep it posted when it does. You can find it on YouTube just for Repeat Movie Viewer. I'm sorry, the Psycho Nerd Podcast, pardon me. But you can also, shut up. You fuck up all the time too, so.
That's true.
You can also go to my YouTube channel to find the same podcast, which is Repeat Movie Viewer. I just dropped a few new episodes, one new podcast, a new JP's Watch List special episode, and there's going to be a few more going forward, so feel free to check that out.
Yep, and along with these podcasts, which we do every week, a review of Raw, SmackDown, and any other news we decide to talk about. We also have the Real Movie Critics, real reviews by real fans. This week we have our spoiler-filled review of the new Mario Galaxy movie. And upcoming, we have Star Trek First Contact and Stand By Me they're up on deck. But with that being said, we also have both those podcasts on the same YouTube channel together, Real Zodiac Productions. If you watched the video, you would have noticed the new logo at the beginning of the show. So for YouTube, every episode past or from the very beginning of both are now on one channel in separate playlists. The shorts will also for YouTube be in separate playlists as well. But for Spotify and Apple Podcasts, they're both on their separate. And I'm not sure if there's a way to combine those two. And I just don't. I only have to upload it once, so I'm not fucking around with that. So,
yeah, that's what I do. I find it easier just to keep everything in the same place. That way, all my viewership, all my subscribers, everything is in one place. So I'm still currently sitting on 27 subscribers, but hopefully we can get that up to 50 sometime.
You know what, guys? If you're not subscribing to his podcast, come on, get him up to 50. 50. We need to get 50. And on the Real Zodiac Promotions, formerly the Zodiac podcast page is sitting at 58. Let's get to 75 before WrestleMania. Let's get up there, guys.
That would be nice.
I'll
And
fucking add like,
and I've already
subscribe, follow. It's free. Fucking, you don't have to watch every episode. Shit. I don't watch every episode. I know we've talked about this before, but I don't watch every episode. At least
I
not,
do.
Hey, you're a fucking
I
nerd,
do.
that's why.
No, because I'm a supporter.
Fuck
Fuck
you.
Uh,
Rather be an athlete, you could be an athletic supporter.
Nice reference to Grease too, but yeah.
But with that being said, for the Psycho Nerd, I am DJ Zodiac. This has been DJ Zodiac Podcast. We want to thank you for watching or listening, and make sure you like, subscribe, follow his podcast as well as the ones that we do on this channel. And until we meet again, remember, kids, in a world of Superman, be the Green Lantern. We will see you next time.